No, he said he would Zoom it on his way to
He just
luncheon.
said, "Me, I will be on YouTube. Too noisy for Zoom participation."
Oh, did he just say that? Oh, yeah, any excuse. Right, I get it. Sure, Murray.
He can hear you.
Oh,
Well,
you mean he's there, but he's not.
I don't know if he's watching it, but I just hit click go.
Okay, so he is participating. Pick a different cafe then. No, he had a lunch to go to, so he snuck out. Said he'd Zoom it. I know, fresh.
Oh,
I mean, 3 quiches and 6 pecan baked before I got here. And washed, whatever, 40 pans. Oh, and Margaret, it's my food thing for Margaret. I made pumpkin soup last night. Nice. They'll break apart. You don't need a knife.
You're still vastating.
No, we're definitely still vastating.
No.
Second.
Yeah, I don't think I have my needle.
oh no.
Oh, no, wait, there it is.
Oh, yeah.
That was gonna be- I sent a blanket to a shoring child, new child this week. She got it. And Paul and Nina are there helping with the new 3rd child, third baby. And whenever I send a package and make it go up to exactly 500 grams, because that's as much as I'm going to spend on this. And so I throw in caramel claws and crumb cheese, violet crumble, that sort of thing in the box. And Carla wrote back and she said, "Oh, your package arrived today. It's beautiful. Here's a picture of the baby with the baby." And my parents are here too. And they said, "Oh, maybe we should have another baby so we can get chocolates." No, you should not have another baby. We already have like 9 grandkids.
Everywhere I go, I look at all the babies and I'm just waiting to be a great grandmother.
No.
It's not going to happen for a long time.
Oh, great.
You're right.
Wow. I don't want to talk about that.
I mean, I look at the babies too, but nothing
Yeah.
to do with any of that.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's date, out and dates, pardon me?
Pecan,
Pecan, right? I just haven't seen that. I
In a
haven't had them
while.
in a while, so.
not fresh
Sort of.
either, yeah.
What?
I heard you saying somebody else was there and we can't see them.
Well, Murray's
Murray,
gonna
he's
he's
sulking.
doing on YouTube,
Oh,
He's-
so we can't see him.
no, we don't actually, can't confirm.
He's skulking, that's right, yeah, there's no confirmation.
That's
I mean,
okay. The Lord knows.
we. That's right. That's
I
right.
mean, not even.
Oh, wait, it says, YouTube says 1 watching now, so.
Hi, Mary.
Sure,
And he's been.
he's going to a lunch thing in North Sydney. Some important people.
Thank you for trying to beat him.
Wow, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to screen share, that's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Screen share, share.
And did you enjoy your vivid experience?
Yeah. The trees, that was the coolest one, I decided, the one next to the nest. Okay, what's it called? Embrace before the trees or something?
Up on the top of Barangaroo.
Yeah,
Oh,
that was so cool. The projection on the trees made it look like the
Yeah, really
trees were.
yeah, we saw that in a few places.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Not,
Yeah, no, that was
didn't
neat.
notice them there so much, but.
Sorry.
No, we haven't started.
I haven't started. Oh, good.
Yeah, left the seat right by the heater. That's what I
Let's see if we got.
Where Barangaroo is this? What you just talked
Yeah,
about.
there was a lovely display up at Barangaroo.
Up top. So we walked around the base until there were stairs and we went up the stairs. Like around the little, like after the developed part, you walk around the little bay thing.
You
Yeah,
can
cove.
swim in that. cove. It's
Okay.
freaking up to
So now
swim.
those fences up again.
Patience.
There's
And
that.
then it's
In the
it's
sun.
where it turns to parkland kind of, and there are stairs going up.
It's a lot of stairs too.
There's a lot of stairs. We did the stairs. You get halfway up and there's, oh, there's a lift.
Oh, I didn't say now, how are you talking?
There is a
about
lift.
it? I have to take, would have to take the lift
Yes, there is a lift.
these days.
Mara did the stairs. Or the stairs.
All right, well, shall we get started?
Hang on, let's go.
You go.
So we'll see how we go, because like as a general rule for a class, I prepare 20 to 30 slides to cover an hour. And I think I have about 50 slides for this section. So yeah, we're not going to read every slide to try to cover what we can. Some of the stuff, so it's
Remember that we don't extend it to another class either, because it'll be ancient history by the time.
well, you can vote, but I may overrule you.
Okay, that's all. It's all
I
about
thought about it too, but it's
Yeah.
just, we'll see how we go.
Yeah.
So is it ancient history because we're doing Egypt?
Yeah, I know.
Does that make it ancient history?
No, archaic.
You're right.
Before we continue, I do need, want to make sure that my microphone is the right one. Microphone mode, yes, okay, good. So here we go. The lead in here is, vastations is the concept we're talking about. The plagues in Egypt are a story of vastations. You note here in the subtitle, it says that there are 11 plagues inflicted on the Egyptians and their land. And so the missing plague, what is it? It's not actually the parting of the sea. I would have thought, okay, if you're gonna have a plague, that'd be the 11th plague to add, but it's
I don't know, it's a miracle. I wouldn't have thought of it.
well,
There was 10 plates, was it?
That's why.
Oh, that's.
so
Apparently. Yeah.
but yeah, Arcana is saying it's actually
Yeah.
11.
All right, Todd, please, what's the 11th?
Yeah.
It's
It's gonna keep us hanging a little, no?
It's the first encounter with Pharaoh where Moses turns his rod into a snake.
Ouch.
That's all.
Is that what it is? How do you like that?
Yeah.
Because they tried to do it, then. Moses
did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll spend some time on these 11 plagues, and of course, trying to show the parallels between Revelation. So let's take a look at this. This is an overview. The Lord said to Moses, Pharaoh will not heed you, so that my wonders may be multiplied in the land of Egypt. This means in order that they may receive corroboration that they have no faith but are ruled by evil. This is clear from the meaning of the wonders and signs that were performed in Egypt as stages of vastation and consequent corroborations that they are ruled by evil. For all those wonders were signs of an equal number of stages in the vastation undergone by those within the church who had been acquainted with such things as a matter of faith and yet had led an evil life. All right, so you know the truth, you don't do it. This is what's going to happen to you. I'll just keep going. Oh, darn it. I was going to do the animations. I'm sorry, I've got to do it like this.
Yay.
Yeah, okay. Want you?
The reason why there are so many stages is that they serve to corroborate for the evil that they are ruled by evil, and also to enlighten the good regarding the state of those within the church who have led an evil life. If these reasons had not stood in the way, the evil could have been damned without delay and let down into hell without going through so many consecutive changes of state.
All right, so the process here is we're going to show you that you are ruled by evil. It's going to be clear to everybody. No mistakes, no excuses, right?
It's gonna take us 11 plagues to figure it out, but
Well, as we say, there are off ramps on any of these things. You can get to a plague and go, oh, all right, change my ways and get off that track.
The fact that the evil pass through so many states before they are doomed and let down into hell is completely unknown in the world. People think that a person is either damned or saved immediately, and that this is done without his having to go through anything. But the truth of the matter is different from that. Justice reigns there. No one is damned before he himself knows and is inwardly convinced that he is ruled by evil and cannot by any means have his being in heaven.
Right. Super clear to everybody. Inwardly convinced that you are ruled by evil, therefore you choose your destination. Lori?
Just gonna move back.
Yeah, fine.
It's really, I can't see.
We never expected you to sit on that side.
Sorry.
His evils are also made plain to him as accords with the Lord's words in Luke. Nothing has been hidden that will not be revealed, or concealed that will not be made known. Therefore, whatever you have said in the dark will be heard in the light. What you have spoken in the ear in bedchambers will be proclaimed on the housetop.
Wow.
That's scary.
It is scary. I mean, Cliff, they're telling everybody.
Yeah, well, since you moved over to there, why don't you?
I was just about to say that, no problem, right from the Arcana. His evils are also made.
Start, Lori just did that. Just
Oh,
start here.
sorry. And what is more, that person is also warned to refrain from evil. But when he cannot do so because he is ruled by evil, the power to do ill through falsifications of truth and semblances of good is taken away from him. It is removed in stages, one after the other, and eventually damnation follows, and being let down into hell, which happens when he comes into the evil of his life. Okay.
So I think it's an important thing to note that it's said in the previous slide, but here too, like, this is about people who have access to the word, right? Ruled by evil, the power to do ill through falsifications of truth and semblances of good. So they have some sort of connection to the word, and you're still you're using that, or have been using that, to justify what you do, to twist other people down your path.
Yeah, well, and that's what makes it worse. It's because they have it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, so this is just the opening gambit between God and Moses and Pharaoh, saying, okay, you know, here come the plagues. So we won't read that because you know what happens next, right? Here come the plagues.
Okay, gotcha.
Oh, my. Zoom. That's mine. No way, no matter where I put it. All right. So, well, Patricia, you got a big one. If you want, you can read as little as you want.
As much as that.
This chapter deals in the internal sense with the first three stages of Vastation. The first stage, where utter illusions given rise to falsities began to reign among them, is described by the serpent into which Aaron's rod was turned, AC 7265. For evil men have also angels with them, in order that they may be able, they will, to turn themselves to heaven and to receive influx thence and be reformed. But when from their life in the world they are such that they cannot receive the influx of truth and good from heaven, then the angels and good spirits gradually recede from them. And as these recede, they become less and less rational, for to be rational comes through heaven from the Lord. The first degree of the taking away and deprivation of the influx of truth and good is here described by the rod of Aaron being turned into a serpent.
So yeah, this is your first plague. This is where it all starts. Worth noting this whole thing about angels receding. I think about this with teenagers, right? Your little boys and girls, you know, say under the age of 10 or 12. Oh, they're so nice and cheerful and they love everybody.
Yeah.
And then eventually they turn into teenagers. And it's one of those moments where I go, well, why does this happen? It's like, oh yeah, you know what? The celestial angels that have been with them their entire life are starting to back off. And you're having this changing of the guard, and the spiritual angels are there. And so they become, well,
Ornery.
yeah, that's a good word. Ornery.
Ornery critter. I think that's a US word, even ornery.
Some more than others.
Yeah, they become more difficult and but
It's not a silent age.
What's that?
It's not a silent age.
No, it's not a silent age.
yeah, in some ways. So
Yeah.
anyway, but those same kids, you know, they have the opportunity just to say, you know, no, I'm not gonna be like this, and they slowly grow out of it as they start to readjust to the equilibrium that is their life now, and they have to work harder to be good, I guess. But this is the first stage for any vastation, though, that, okay, good spirits gradually recede. And as they recede, they become less and less rational. It's like, oh yeah, that's a teenager perfectly. Yeah. They become less rational.
And I'd say age 8, that's when Zach.
8?
That's so sweet.
The age can vary.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you have plague number 2, which we normally know as plague number 1, where the waters turn to blood. The second stage, when actual truths among them were made into falsities and truths, is described by the blood which the waters were turned into. And the fish that are in the river shall die, and the river shall stink, and the Egyptians will loathe to drink the water of the river. So, anybody remember what fish correspond to? But I mentioned it on Sunday.
Here we go, okay.
Well, truth,
Well,
something.
right, think about exactly, you know, water is
Walking around
truth.
in truth.
So fish are basically facts. So what's happening here? The fish die. So when you start, you know, making truths into falsities, oh, well, facts die. Oh, you start saying there's, you know, 17 different genders. Well, guess what? You know, what's dying there? The fact that there are boys and girls, right? It's such a good example, right? Of how when you want to believe your reality, you know, your water has turned to blood. The facts are.
It's up there, the fish too, scientific as well, see? You should look at them.
Yep, well, isn't that appropriate? Biology is a scientific fact, isn't it?
Well, so is male and female, I suppose.
Exactly. Exactly.
I love it when they say, oh, if, you know, when they say about who gives birth with, you know, and they are, what? Hang on, mate, I don't know. I don't have any blokes to give birth.
Yeah. We don't need to spend, go off on that tangent, but it is.
I know, I understand. It's silly, I can't believe it. Very silly.
So this is just a call back to Sunday on our Revelation series, you know, showing, okay, second trumpet, same kind of thing, you know, the third of the sea becomes blood, and guess what? Living creatures in the sea die. The ships are being destroyed, so we don't have that in the plagues of Egypt about Egyptian ships being destroyed, but Revelation does give us that. So just noting that there's a fair bit of parallels between these two processes, which are both processes of vastation. So we have more water to blood in Revelation, and you can go ahead.
These two witnesses have the power to shut up the sky so that rain will not fall during the days of their prophesying. And they have power over the waters to turn them into blood and to strike the earth with every plague as often as they desire.
So just noting here that that one she just read from Revelation 11 is part of these 7 seals of the scroll, right? So we had the lamb. Oh, who's worthy to undo the seals? Oh, the lamb will undo these seals, and you have, you know, the horseman, the soul of the altar, and all stuff we did on Sunday with the seven angels and their seven trumpets. But you'll see the second one, I'm not gonna bother reading it. It's the second angel poured out his bowl into the sea. And we have a second series of basically plagues that happen in Revelation 16 and 17, where these angels are pouring out bowls and all these bad things are happening. It's almost like the same thing happens again as in with the trumpets. And what the writings are telling us is that it's the Catholic versus the Protestant church, I think is what the difference is. So, yeah, Revelation's a double dip on Vastations as far as I can see. Plague number 3, frogs. Cliff, I think you're up.
Okay. The third stage, when from falsities they reasoned against the truths and forms of good that were the churches, is described by the frogs out of the river. The third stage, a stage in which they did nothing else than use reasoning arising from utter falsities. Reasoning arising from utter falsities being meant by the frogs.
So I know what you're saying. What's an utter falsity?
Yep,
I'm glad you thought that.
transgender people are frogs.
So this is a little bit deeper of a dive into what an utter falsity is.
Behold, I will plague all your borders with frogs, means reasonings arising from utter falsities. This is clear from the meaning of frogs as reasonings. Their arising from utter falsities is meant by their crawling forth from the river, as the next phase in the verse declares, the river of Egypt being falsity, and because the words used here say that all their borders would be plagued with them, they also mean that the reasonings will arise not from falsified truths, but from utter falsities.
Well, an example, please.
We're going to keep going.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
The reason for this is that reasonings which arise from falsified truths are turned at length into blasphemous contradictions of what is good and true. Furthermore, real truths reject falsification from themselves, since they cannot coexist with falsities, and all the time they are present with them, they fight against them, and at length free and separate themselves from them.
Patricia, the bottom.
This explains why, after a person has falsified truths, he at length renounces them altogether. If he did not do that, falsities would have dominion over truths. So it is that after the evil in the next life have been cast into hell, they are not allowed to use reasonings that arise from falsified truths, only those arising from utter falsities.
So what I'm hearing is that there's the false truth, and then there's something that's just completely false, has no basis in reality at all. Like if I start telling you the sky is pink, well, that's an utter falsity. There's nothing true about it. I'm not trying to take something that's true. Oh, well, men and women are similar, right? And then turning that into, well, we're the same. You can see that because most of our biology is the same. Therefore, we are the same, and that, we do the same things. Making a case, starting with something true and slowly twisting it. It's like in this part of the process, when frogs come forth, you're no longer allowed to play those games. Oh, well, God says he loves you, or loves everybody, but he doesn't love you because you did this terrible thing. You guys were holding hands before you got married. Oh, tis. Stuff like that. It's taking something true, twisting it is what they've been doing so far. But an utter falsity is, it's not even a twisting of it. It's just,
Absurd.
yeah.
Is it like a complete delusion?
Yeah, I think so. So that's what's starting to happen for these guys. So I tried to see if there were some frogs in Revelation.
Gee, they're pretty.
I know. And it took me a while to see actually that I was looking for the frogs coming out of the mouths, because it says out of the mouth of false prophet, 3 unclean spirits like frogs. So I thought this middle guy had frogs coming out of his mouth, and then I said, oh wait, he's kind of the frog.
He's the frog, yeah. No,
Yeah. So
Looks a bit like Kermit.
it does. So not really frogs in Revelation, because these are unclean spirits like frogs, but still it's following a similar thing. This is Revelation 16, which is just after the previous one that was read about the water and the blood, turning blood. So again, nice parallel there. Number 4, lice.
You, sorry.
Oh, it's me? Okay. Right, because Patricia just read it. All right, so the 4th stage was when they were subjected to evils which ruined all good present with them, including whatever natural good they had, these evils being meant by the lice produced from the dust of the land. And there were lice on man, on beast, means that evils rose up from these things, interior and exterior evils attached to wicked desires. All the dust of the land became lice in the whole land of Egypt, means that these evils rose up from the things that were damned. Right? So once you start believing in utter falsities, what do you do? Well, whatever it is that you want, right? If you believe it's true that, well, a marriage example is good, like having multiple wives, animals have multiple partners, and so therefore people can too. And so what comes forward from that? Well, somebody trying to, sleep around lots of women and have that kind of life. There's, so as you believe false things, you're going to do evil things, right? So that's where you're going to have lice. Interior and exterior evils attached to wicked desires. But I can't find any lice in Revelation. Oh, looked hard for that. And actually I found somebody else who apparently I was not the only person to have this idea of the similarity between the plagues and Revelation. Found a few other people who had studied it, and nobody came up with any lice. So there you go. Next one up, flies.
The 5th stage was when they were subjected to the falsities arising from those evils, which ruined all truth, these falsities being meant by the noxious flying insects. The noisome fly means evils from which these falsities come, that these evils were the evils that are in the outermost parts of the natural mind, thus that are in the sensuous, and the falsities that are from these evils are of the same kind.
Okay, so can you see the progression that's going on here? The water. All right, so first we have the serpent, right? The serpent, rod turns to a serpent. Good spirits are backing off. With that, we have less influx from the Lord, so the less truth coming from heaven. The next stage is water to blood. So now we start making true things false. The factual knowledge that we have is starting to die off, and we're replacing it with our own truth. Okay, then the next thing that happens is we have the frogs come out. So now we're taking the truth that we have, and just annihilating it and starting to create our own reality. So that then gives us the lice. So now we start doing bad things. And when you see the 5th stage here, it's like, oh, falsities arising from the bad things we've done. All right. So it's this cycle. Okay. I have these false ideas, so I'm gonna do these evil things. Well, this now means I can do this, because this must be true as well. And so you're starting to see this rolling back and forth of believing something to be true when it's actually false. You're gonna do some evil activities, and so you see that these are in the outermost parts of the natural mind. Okay, so it's so far the evils are kind of out there on our, metaphysical spectrum, but they're gonna slowly creep inward. The falsities are gonna get more dire, and they're gonna make us do worse things as this progression goes. Yeah, it's this slow conversion to evil, and it's, again, as the opening thing said, this is trying to show you that you are ruled by evil, so it's clear to everybody. Again, no flies in Revelation. Shame about that. But
They're big beasts, no little beasts.
what do we have in Revelation? Well, we have the pale horse. So we got pestilence. So here's the interesting thing on this one is killed by sword, famine, and plague. And I tried a bunch of different translations, because I found one early on in this study that said pestilence. And then I couldn't find it when I was trying to actually put it in here. And it says most translations translate it as killed by sword, famine, and death, which seems kind of redundant to
Kill
me.
them by death.
Yeah. That's the literal Hebrew translation, is killing by death. So I'm not really sure how well this pale horseman ties into lice, famine, and pestilence, but
that's where diseases come from, usually, isn't it? Flies and
Right.
lice and
Bugs or something.
bugs.
yeah.
I don't know.
So
Mosquitoes.
yeah, right. So I'm not sure if I'm stretching it on this one or not, but nevertheless, that's the best I can give you for lice and flies. Number 6, Cliff.
Plague, diseased livestock. Behold, the hand of Jehovah will be on your livestock that are in the field. Means the laying waste of the truth and good of faith, which they had acquired from the church to which they had belonged. On the horses, on the asses, on the camels, means intellectual concepts of and factual knowledge about the truth of faith. On the herd and on the flock means aspects of the will. An extremely severe pestilence means an overall annihilation. Right, you go.
So this kind of goes back to what I was saying on Sunday. I think I mentioned it once, though, like how Vastation is basically a reverse creation process. You're undoing all of the things that were created. And so, well, let's day 6. You got livestock and all that. So in general, livestock, sheep and cows, those kind of things, they are our good affections. And so here you have, horses, right? Intellectual concepts. Again, think about it, the New Church Day and the 4 horsemen. So all this stuff that is dying off. Dying. And it is, again, noted in the underline there, which it's stuff they had acquired from the church. So it's it's a very particular type of Vastation, I think. Yeah, that's true.
That image. Is it
Oh.
AI generated?
Oh yeah, it's definitely an AI.
6 legs on that beast and that
No, it's
human.
two.
No.
I thought it was 2.
Oh, interesting.
Maybe.
There's also a creature that looks like half
Wow.
beast and half human, more to the right, because I don't see a front. to
It
that
looks
beast.
like a horse
that
cow
guy.
without
Yeah.
horns.
Oh, yeah, right.
Well,
It's interesting when I blow the image up big like
Yeah,
this.
right. Anyway,
Well, there's 6 legs there anyway. So.
Yeah.
I mean, I wondered if there was a little one behind it, but
Yeah.
there aren't 2 more legs,
Four, yeah.
unless they're perfectly aligned.
Yeah, we're gonna go with that.
Yeah. Next.
Yep, all right. On to the next. Boils.
Ralph?
Me?
Boils.
You.
And Jehovah said to Moses and to Aaron, take for yourselves in fistfuls the ashes of the furnace, means to arouse the falsities that are a product of evil desires by being present with those engaged in molestation. And let Moses scatter them in the direction of heaven, means that those falsities were to be demonstrated to the inhabitants of heaven. And there will then be dust over all the land of Egypt, means the damnation of those falsities in the natural mind. And there will be on man and on beast, means products of interior and exterior evil. Sores breaking out into pustules, means resulting filthiness together with blasphemy. In all the land of Egypt, means in the whole natural mind.
So again, we've gone back to a falsity, right? We're going to arouse the falsities. And what are we going to do? Falsities are going to be demonstrated to the inhabitants of heaven. Oh, okay, we're showing this to everybody. No, this is no good. And up to this point, what do we had? Okay, livestock dies. Flies, all right, well, those are annoying. Lice, they're annoying. But with this, it's something's happening to the person themselves. You're starting to see the evil manifest. Oh, you have sores all over you. It's similar to like leprosy, right? It's a skin disease. And that was a whole big deal, right? Because if you're a leper, you're outside, and lepers correspond to a bad thing, so you got to separate that out. But it was a symbolic of an evil that had really manifested in their lives, and that's what these boils are saying. Okay, we are now being able to really see somebody as evil. It's like when in the movies you see someone change into a werewolf, right? And this is like partway through. The transformation is just starting. The horns are just starting to pop or whatever. Yeah. We do get some swords in Revelation, right? Ooh, again, back to these bowls. This angel here pouring out his bowl doesn't look very friendly. But he pours out God's wrath on the earth, and ugly, festering sores broke out on the people who had worshipped the beast, which of course is the doctrine of faith alone.
Oh, is that the doctrine? Is it? There you go. There you go.
Let's talk some more about the sores, shall we?
And go full. And there came a great and noxious sore. This signifies evil works there, and consequent falsifications of truth is evident from the signification of a sore as denoting works that are done from man, thus from his proprium, and are evil. That evil works and the falsifications of truths are with those who acknowledge faith alone in doctrine and confirm it in life is meant by what follows. That a great and noxious sore is upon the men who have the mark of the beast and worship his image.
So, a couple key things here. These are works that are done from the proprium, so from our ego. And again, just noting that, right? That this signifies evil works there and consequent falsifications of truth, right? So it's back and forth, all right? So we have a false idea, which leads to an evil action, which creates a new false idea, which creates a worse evil action. And so now these evil actions are from our own ego, from our own, oh, look how smart I am kind of position. Because we've been engaged in making all these truths, which are not actually true, we start thinking how smart we are. Oh, look at how good of a debater I am. Look at how good of an arguer I am. I just made this just appear true. And so it just keeps going around and around and around to where it's really like a downward spiral, isn't it? That's really what's going on here.
Reminds me of lawyers.
Please.
Well, they can, someone's up there, it's on camera, it's everything, and they'll say something, no, it wasn't,
Mm.
Yeah. Right. Okay, we're rolling along pretty well. Hail. Trish, I think you're up.
And Moses stretched out his rod toward heaven, and the Lord sent thunder and hail, and fire darted to the ground. And the Lord rained hail on the land of Egypt. So there was hail, and fire mingled with the hail, so very heavy that there was none like it in all the land of Egypt since it became a nation.
The meaning of rain in the form of hail is falsities arising from evil that destroy forms of truth and good of faith, thus things of the church. Those falsities are meant by rain in the form of hail because then the raindrops are like stones and can destroy both men and beasts, as well as crops in the field, and also because they are pieces of ice. In general, rain means a blessing, or in the contrary sense, a curse. So we have this same thing in Revelation with the first trumpet that we had of the 7 trumpets, fire mingled with hail. And then getting deeper into this,
What is being described here is the state of those belonging to the church who molest the upright in the next life. Their state when the things of the church with them, that is, the forms of good and the truths which they have claimed to believe in, have been laid waste. That is to say, their state is now one in which firm but false beliefs, together with evil desires, reign. For this is what their state inwardly is like.
I want to give you an example of this at the end. So we got, I think, 3 or 4 of these that go along in this path.
Can I just say something just for start?
Yeah.
And you can mention that. Who molest the upright in the next life, when we die. And then
Yeah. That's all I'm gonna give you the example.
Oh, sorry, man. I looked at that and I went, wait a minute.
So
What's that saying about that the upright can be molested? That doesn't sound. Anyway.
well, it's all part of what will be your Vastation process. Right, so a good person is gonna have their own trials where they have to confirm what they believe to be true. So, yeah, that's the world of spirits, right? It's the wheat and the tares, they're all in there together, and now we gotta start separating this out.
Yeah.
So, the good are gonna be tried by the evil. The evil are tried by the good, right?
Well, we know who wins there, I suppose, is it? No, we don't know.
Well, overall good wins, but in some people, evil might rule the day, right? Some people are going to choose that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So this continues on. Forget we read this.
I did.
So Cliff, you get the next one. This one.
Those false beliefs and evil desires are inseparable. For when evil takes hold in a person's life, falsity takes hold in his doctrine. When a person's life is taken hold of by evil, the situation may seem to him to be entirely different. For when people claim with their lips to believe in truths drawn from the word or from the teachings of their church, they fantasy that things of the church, they fantasy that they have a belief in them. Oh, that was funny. That's sorry.
They fancy.
It's not fantasy. It's fancy. Sorry.
That's right.
Church, they fancy that they have a belief in them. Right. Okay. It even appears to them as though they do, but in fact, they have no such belief in their life as evil. For either they claim with their lips to believe in things which are different from what they really think, or they think something is true because they have been told and persuaded to believe that it is. And this belief they hold on account of their desire for gain and important positions. Interesting.
This means that when they are no longer striving for important positions or seeking after gain, that belief falls away. And then those people take hold of falsities that fit in with their evil desires. Falsities fitting in with evil desires are present inwardly with those who lead an evil life, no matter how much they may think that they are not.
Finally,
The
Yep.
truth of this is made thoroughly plain in the next life when everything external has been taken away and those kinds of people have been left to their inner selves. Falsities now erupt, both those which had played a part in their thinking in the world and those which had not evidently done so. For those falsities erupt from the evils which had been part of their life, falsities being nothing other than evils producing reasons to support and justify themselves. From all this, one may see what the state of those people in the next life is like, namely, a state in which firm beliefs in what is false together with desires for what is evil rule them.
so just gonna roll back. So this was the play, the fire and hail. And so you think about it, what that passage was telling us in terms of, oh, there's these desires coming forward, fire, oh, and these false beliefs, hail, that what are they doing? It's killing the men, the beasts in the land, the crops in the field, because it's ice. This is a curse, right? This passage is telling us that they're molesting people, that are attacking good people. I don't like to molest, has such a sexual connotation in this world today, but it's they're aggravating, annoying, disturbing upright people. And the rest of the passage is saying how the external bonds that kept these people in check for so long have now been lifted, right? These people were the ones who said, oh, well, look, I want to be the president of the PTA, or I want to be, an MP, or, I want some position of honor. I want to be a judge. And so therefore I have to maintain propriety and show that I uphold justice. I gotta appear like I'm doing the right thing. But at this stage, all of those external bonds are gone. And so they just go right into what they really want and what they really believe. And so now, the desires, that fire is being let loose. And it's not good. It's not good. So the example I wanted to show you, what I was thinking of when I was reading all this, is a passage from Divine Providence. You may know it, it's somewhat famous in New Church circles. It's the last number in Divine Providence, very last number, and it's an encounter where Swedenborg basically says, he says, I needed to fill out the page. I needed to fill out the page and finish this book. And so some evil spirits came along and said, write something about us. And he's like, well, what do you want me to write? He says, well, tell everybody that in the next life, everybody gets to live their loves and follow their desires. And he's like, well, all right, sure. And then what are your desires? And, oh, we love, outhouses and stagnant pools of urine and pigs and he's like, you guys are like wild animals. Well, if that's what we are, that's what we are. And so here's the passage, the last bit of it. They write this, that we are all allowed to live in our own delights, no matter how filthy they are, as some would say, as long as we do not harass good spirits and angels. But since we cannot help harassing them, we are driven off and cast into hell, where we suffer terribly. why do you harass good people? That's a better word than molesting, right? Why do you harass good people? They answered that they could not help it. It was though a rage came over them when they saw angels and Savant's divine aura around them. I said, well, this makes you like wild animals. And when they heard this, a rage came over them and they looked like blazing hatred. And to prevent them from doing any harm, they were taken back into hell. The end. That's how the book of divine providence ends.
It's funny that like I look on the net with these people, you see the street preachers. A woman came up and was talking quite normally to the street preacher, blah, blah, blah. She didn't like what she said. She punched him in the face. She couldn't stand what he was saying about what the lifestyle. There you go.
Yeah. Oh, and I get them on YouTube comments every now and again, like, I interact a little bit and then I just trying to, dispel the fairy tales that all this, and it's like, I can just see it's almost like they can't help themselves. They just have this rage about, religion. And I'm like, buddy, I don't know what anybody did to you, but
That's it. Some bloke wrote back to me, said, I suppose you believe in the tooth fairy and Santa Claus. I went, no. It's incredible. Did you do it on the no? I love talking to people.
but yeah. So anyway, when where did we have it? Somewhere in there. Yeah, a person's life is taken hold of by evil. Yes, it's those who harass in their state. Okay. Yeah, their evil desires reign. So they're seeing what it's like. So this is what I think is going on. Now, divine providence doesn't necessarily tie themselves into that plague, but I thought it was interesting, actually. Ninth plague of locusts. So this is going back to Egypt. Yeah, lots of locusts. And this is what we talked about on Sunday with the fifth trumpet. And this one, unfortunately, I have a whole bunch of slides on because it's so interesting. I'm actually gonna try to take this apart a bit more. And I said in summary on Sunday that, right, locusts destroying the crops is like the destruction of joy and pleasure. So your evil desires eventually run out of pleasure, and that's what happens. That's what locusts are doing. So yeah, we'll take turns just kind of going back and forth in this one. I forget who I jumped out of place. Who actually wants to read?
I'll read it.
You want to read that? All right, go ahead.
Then the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fallen from heaven to the earth. To him was given the key to the bottomless pit, and he opened the bottomless pit, and smoke arose out of the pit like the smoke out of a great furnace. So the sun and the air were darkened because of the smoke of the pit. Then out of the smoke locusts came upon the earth, and to them was given power, and the scorpions of the earth have power.
So Ralph, you want to do this next?
To enable people to know that such things are meant by locusts, let the details of this passage be explained one by one. The abyss out of which the locusts came is hell.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So then go back to Laura, you can do this block.
Yeah. They were commanded not to harm the grass of the earth or any green thing or any tree, but only those men who did not have the seal of God on their foreheads. And they were not given authority to kill them, but to torment them for 5 months. Their torment was like the torment of a scorpion when it strikes a man. In those days, men will seek death and will not find it. They will desire to die, and death will flee from them.
Want to
Not happiness. All right, Patricia, so you're the grass of the earth.
The grass of the earth, which they were not to harm, is factual knowledge, free recognition of what is good and true, and men affectations for what is
Affections,
good, affections from what is good. They're being told to harm only men, not the grass of the earth or any tree. It means that truth and good may come to be understood even when there is no living in accordance with them. Those who have the seal on their foreheads are those who have been regenerated. They're being told, they're being told to torment for 5 months those who did not have the seal of God on their foreheads. Means that they were laid, so means that they were to lay them waste.
Yeah.
Making the text smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
It's not around.
So what's
Yeah.
this seal on the forehead?
Those who've been regenerated.
Those
Yeah.
that have, okay. Oh, there you go. Couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Those
Oh, there's a
who-
lot there.
Yeah.
There's a lot there. So yeah, it's interesting that in this. Now, we're not doing plagues of Egypt, right? This is plagues of Revelation. And so what's happening here is that these locusts are being unleashed throughout the spiritual world. Right? You've got good spirits and evil spirits both inhabiting what will become the world of spirits. And it's this separation that's happening. So yeah, that's why he's making the case in this situation that there is grass on the earth, right? Because there are true knowledges around. Oh, there are some people who are regenerated who are in this space. Locusts go out, do your thing, but you know, only get the bad guys. Only get the bad guys. The shape of the locust was like horses prepared for battle. And these are reasonings based on falsities that are used to fight against the church's truths. So we have that familiar image of a horse being our understanding, our intellectual abilities. Yeah. So it says on the heading there, another explanation for verse 4. This is from Arcana. Apocalypse revealed as opposed to apocalypse explained. Revealed is the newer version. So I thought, well, this was a little bit different. And go ahead.
They were told not to harm the grass of the earth or any plant or tree, but only those people who did not have the seal of God on their foreheads. Those who had not the seal of God on their foreheads are signified those who are not in charity and thence in faith. For the forehead signifies love and charity, and to have the seal signifies to know and distinguish them from others.
So it said those are regenerate in the previous book. This one's about just in charity, which ultimately is the same thing, right? So go back to the text here, Cliff.
On their heads were crowns of something like gold, and their faces were like the faces of men. They had hair like women's hair, and their teeth were like lions' teeth. And they had breastplates like breastplates of iron. And the sound of their wings was like the sound of chariots with many horses running into battle.
All right, Ralph.
On their heads crowns like gold and faces like those of men mean that the reasonings have a similar appearance to truth and in origin seem to be good. Hair like that of women and teeth like the teeth of lions are the external things of the natural or the level of the senses. That is, the illusions that are there, the illusions there which give the appearance of good. Breastplates of iron are external things giving the appearance of truth. The sound of wings like that of chariots with many horses running to war means the falsities of doctrinal teachings, which they use to fight with and which they fight for.
So, right, lots of details there explaining what the deeper meaning is here. But I still think that the big picture here is these creatures are very destructive, very destructive, and they are going to take away lots of things, right? They desolate a land. So that's what happens when hell gets released, right? The locusts were from hell. And then this final stretch here, Lori.
The
Yeah,
whole-
the
the
whole-
whole thing. On their heads were crowns of something like gold, and their faces were like the faces of men. We already read that. I can read the.
Oh, yeah,
scorpions.
that's so from 10 down, I guess.
Okay, they had tails like scorpions and there were stings in their tails. Their power was to hurt men 5 months. And they had as king over them the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in Hebrew is Abaddon, but in Greek he has the name Apollyon.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that, but he was one of the demons, wasn't he, Abaddon, one of the demons or something? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's. So tails like scorpions, I guess is back to you, Patricia.
Tails like scorpions and the stings in their tails are the injuries such things can inflict. The king of the abyss is hellish falsity. Abaddon, destruction. Apollyon, reasoning based on falsities that seem to be based on truth, especially if those deemed to be wise support those falsities with philosophical arguments completely misapplied, for blind admiration of their wisdom leads people to have faith in them.
So yeah, we've gotten to a very bad place. Very bad place. Destruction. And the problem, of course, is that there are people who are appearing smart that actually aren't, and they are leading people astray. Then we have darkness, going back to Exodus, right? It's the 9th/10th plague. Darkness, which can even be felt. It's a complete state. They could not perceive the truth of any good. Right? They lost everything. They did not rise up from their places, means there was no raising of the mind. I find it funny how they have this picture here. Again, this is a chat GPT, but it's Lord telling Moses to stretch out your hand towards heaven. They've made Moses to this kind of monstrosity of a figure, but we have similar kind of thing with the 5th trumpet from Sundays, darkness, and it happens in both spots with the bowls and the trumpet here. Revelation. And then we get over to the death of the firstborn. You know what that plague is. And then we have text. And I'll let you read that.
With those who are not governed by charity, matters of faith are merely items stored in the memory, and in the memory they take the same form as any other factual knowledge. Nor does any real knowledge of the truth that composes faith reside there, because it has been debased by false ideas and also serves as the means to bolster up falsities. Since this is what faith devoid of charity is like, it is annihilated among the wicked in the next life, with whom truth suffers complete devastation.
This is allowed.
You want to read the bottom paragraph?
Oh, yes, sorry. Yeah, that's okay. So this is allowed to happen to prevent them from using truths as the means to attain evil objectives. And so to prevent hell from dominating in any way among them over such things as belong to heaven, and to guard against their being left hanging as a consequence between heaven and hell. Such annihilation and such devastation of truth is what is meant by the firstborn in Egypt being killed. The destruction after that of the Egyptians in the sea Suf represents a subsequent state of damnation or spiritual death of such people. For once they have been deprived of matters of faith or truth, which were like wings lifting them up, they immediately drop like weights into hell. There you go.
Yeah. So it's the final thing.
Yeah.
Now it's actually happened, and even Pharaoh at this point gives up. Right? He's no longer keeping Israel around. Again, tying us back to that opening statement about the whole process of Vastation is to show to the evil that they are in fact ruled by evil, that they are, what the Lord says they are. So when the death of the firstborn comes along, it's Pharaoh saying, yep, this is what I am. I am a man of a materialist point of view in his case. And this is where, we get the same thing in Revelation, right? You're thrown into the lake of fire. This is the second death. You're gonna burn, burn, burn. But then, you do kind of have 12, right? With the parting of the Red Sea and that, and that's, I just. We're doing all right. So, right, the big scene, right? Egypt's coming across and the sea falls down them. And this is what we have to finish with.
All Pharaoh's horses, his chariots, and his horsemen into the middle of the sea means factual knowledge belonging to a perverted understanding, doctrinal teachings upholding falsity, and reasonings that they filled hell. This is clear from the meaning of Pharaoh's horses as factual knowledge belonging to a perverted understanding, from the meaning of Pharaoh's chariots as doctrinal teachings upholding falsity, and from the meaning of Pharaoh's horsemen as reasonings based on these, all dealt with above, and from the meaning of into the middle of the sea as filling hell.
Yeah. These last couple slides are the fun ones. You want to do the first paragraph there, Lori?
The reason why these three that were constituents of Pharaoh's army, horses, chariots, and horsemen, are now mentioned again here is that the final state in the vastation of those belonging to the church who have championed faith, separated from charity, and led a life of evil is now at hand. This state is one of being cast into hell, and being cast into hell is being crowded around by falsities arising from evil.
All right. You able to do the last paragraph there?
I won't, because I can't see very well anymore.
Yeah, I know, because I'll do that.
Oh, the light.
Go ahead. Yeah. For when all the truth and goodness residing with the evil have been laid waste, and those people have been abandoned to the evil and the falsity arising from it that have ruled their lives, the hells with which they have been in contact through the evil ruling their lives are opened. From there, all the evils which they have made their own rapidly converge on them, and the falsities which well out of the evils constitute then the sphere surrounding them. A sphere which looks like a thick cloud or like water. Once all this has taken place, they are in hell, for now they have been shut off from all contact with heaven, and also have been separated from other hells.
Gets back to me then. The subject in this verse has been the plunging or casting into hell of those who are steeped in falsities arising from evil. But few know what being plunged and cast into hell may be. They imagine that it is being cast down to some place where the devil and his crew are, and that these torment people there. But that is not the situation. When people are cast into hell, there's nothing other than they're being completely choked by utter falsities arising from the evil which ruled them when they were in the world. When they are completely choked by them, they are in hell. The actual evils and falsities in which those people are now immersed are what torment them. Compare this same story of Noah's Ark, right? How are they dying? Through choking on falsities. Same thing. It's your last one.
But the torment is not due to any grief they feel because they have done evil in the past, but because, since doing evil is the delight of their life, they cannot do it in the present. For when they do evil there, they suffer punishment and torment at the hands of those to whom they do it. What motivates them chiefly when they do evil to one another is a desire to exercise control in order to place others in subjection to themselves, which, if others do not allow themselves to be placed in subjection, they accomplish by 1,000 methods of punishment and torment. But control there, which they constantly strive to possess, passes by turns from one to another, which means that those who have punished and tormented others are then themselves punished and tormented by others. And this goes on until at length the fear of punishment serves to cool their ardor. From all this, one may now see where hell originates and what hell is. Nor is hellfire anything other than the cravings of self-love, which inflame and torment.
Yep, that's about it, eh? That's it.
I think I lost one. Yep.
You know, that phrase, cool their ardor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
So, yeah, so it completes that series. We did pretty well getting through that. But you see, okay, so it's for death of the firstborn, you're now admitting it. Okay, I'm a terrible person and I love evil. And then that last sequence here of the opening of the parting of the sea and then the coming down on it, it's basically hell opening up and saying, whoosh, now we got you.
Right.
Now you are ours.
What that
And
does, it's the bug.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So that's the grand sequence, and it all starts with, right, the serpent, the rod to a serpent. So the good spirits start to move back, and it's interesting to me that this whole thing can be avoided. All you do is just call the good spirits to return. Call the angels and the good spirits, come back. Come back. Don't let my water turn to blood. Because then that just sets in this chain of events. And you know, if we spend even more time on this, you know, you can go through and notice that at the beginning, right? Egyptians can play along. Oh, we can make our rods serpent too, and oh, we can do this. And but as it keeps going, Pharaoh's advisors are starting to say, hey, you know, this isn't going so well for us. And Pharaoh's own people say, oh, well, you know, this guy Moses, you know, he's doing things we can't do. You know, hey, have you noticed that our entire country has been destroyed? Maybe we should let them go. And so there's all these times where you can just call those good spirits back in, change your approach. Your advisors are telling you, stop it, don't keep going. But of course, the story has to show us the full process. And so that's what we get. We get Pharaoh being stubborn, you know, and it's, the appearance of the Lord hardening his heart. But this is Vastation. This is that, you know, glomming on to an evil and or a false idea, and then go taking the evil action that goes with it, which proves to you another false idea, which gives you a worse evil action. You just keep going, you know, circling the drain and keep going down and down. Desires get stronger to do it, and then you lose the ability to not do it to an extent. You love it so much, and then you're so doing it so consistently into it that the locusts come and takes away even the joy of it. And it just keeps on going down. And yeah, so then you have the darkness, you can't see it anymore, then you just kind of say, yep, this is who I am. This is my true self. And it is. So there you go. Thanks for doing the reading and playing along and experiencing an extra, you get an extra bonus 10 minutes of class. So whoever's online, we'll see you maybe some other time.
Bye, everybody.
Goodbye, and see you later. We're gonna have some lunch.